hopefully today's the day.
Team news?
We've got one change, Chris Jordan for Mark Wood.
Okay, go well today.
Good luck.
Aaron, you're batting first. What would you have liked to have done?
I wanted to bowl first as well, to be honest. I think early on you may get a little something from the Pacers on the wicket, but so it goes. I think it's going to be a good wicket, and we're going to go hard for sure.
A chance of qualification still, and that's a chance you've got to cling to.
I mean, yeah, definitely. We're going to come hard, as always. We're going to play fearless cricket, and let's see how we come up.
Your coach said when you're not winning, you're learning. What did you learn from the West Indies game the other night?
I think we need to be a little more disciplined, batting and bowling wise, to be honest with you. I think we lacked discipline in the last game. That's the reason why the result ended up like that. But yeah, definitely we had a few meetings and we're going to come back stronger today.
It's been a great thrill for you to be back here at Kensington Oval again and against your old schoolmate, Jofra Archer.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely looking forward to it for sure.
Team news?
Same team from last week.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
England then have won the toss. They will bowl first.
Well, that's a great start for England. It's exactly what they would like to do. It's an early morning game here. It's about 10:20 Caribbean time, 3:20 your time back in the UK. And you heard there that England have made that one change. Out goes Mark Wood. Interesting decision that. Wondered if they might have gone
yeah, definitely we had a few meetings and we're going to come back stronger today.
Chris Jordan. This is a clash. But it's a unique clash. It has never happened before. The USA versus England. It's almost impossible to believe that these two sides managed to avoid each other in the storied 118-year history of international cricket that began all those years ago in Manhattan when the USA played Canada. Finally, the inventors of the game and one of the early adopters of the game get to play against each other. Alongside me is World Cup winner Alex Hartley and Peter Della Penna. Peter, you heard there Mike Atherton say America still have a chance of qualification. It is so slim, surely, as to be discardable.
I think I made this reference before, but straight out of Dumb and Dumber, Lloyd Christmas. So you're saying there's a chance? That's about the chance that USA has today. But hey, you never know. They beat Pakistan. Stranger things have happened, Daniel.
Alex, we've got news through. We can't 100% confirm it, but Ben Gardner of Wisden Cricket Monthly has tweeted that now that England have won the toss, they're going to be chasing. In order to be mathematically certain of going through, the reason for this is that South Africa will play later today. If the West Indies beat them, even if they beat them in a super over, England, in order to avoid that problem, would need to win with roughly 10 to 13 balls to spare, depending on what the USA get. That seems a very achievable target for this England side, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, if you look at how the West Indies went about chasing their total the other day, they put it in 10.5 overs. They were chasing 129 to win. So England are definitely the stronger side. They do have the capability of winning and winning big, but more importantly for England, first and foremost, is to get over the line. And then when you're in the position to be able to accelerate, you do that and you get over the line with more than 10 to 13 balls to spare.
Any surprises with Mark Wood out and Chris Jordan in?
No, we've had a little bit of a conversation about it over the last couple of days, didn't we, on the TMS podcast yesterday. I think for me, Mark Wood is brilliant in the power play. The way he gets the new ball to swing, his pace, his bounce. I think he's a really good attribute and he's a good player to have in this team. But England looking batting short, and the one for me was to bring CJ in. So actually now they're batting all the way down to 8, 9, 9. I think they look a lot stronger. And they've still got options, you know, CJ at the death with the ball as well. He's a veteran of the game.
And you know, England have got 3 Bajans in this side. Phil Salt, if you haven't already heard, a Bajan. Chris Jordan and Jofra Archer. Jordan and Archer, schoolmates with Rihanna, who was one of the heroes of Barbados. And of course, there's another Bajan playing today, and that is Aaron Jones, the USA captain. So very touching moments before the game when we saw Chris Jordan and Jofra Archer chatting away to Aaron Jones. They will have played Peter Della Penna together, I guess, in age group cricket and just in club cricket here in Barbados.
Yeah, the Foundation, that's the name of the high school that they grew up playing together. They grew up playing street cricket together. They know each other very well. They both thought they'd be playing for West Indies at some point. Instead, they've taken different paths. Aaron Jones, because he was born in New York, he's a dual passport holder, so he was always eligible to play for USA. And he was tempted a few times being on the fringes of the Barbados setup, and finally lured in 2018. And Jofra Archer, of course, as everybody in England knows, came in just before the 2019 World Cup and what an incredible impact he's made in a stop-start career, but he's out here today and he's enjoying it, and I know Aaron Jones is enjoying it as well.
No, it's an extraordinary sight. Extraordinary because you see it so rarely. There's an England flag on one side and there's a USA flag on the other. When do these two sides play international sport? Well, I can tell you they played a World Cup match in football in 1950. And the score was USA 1, England 0. It came as such a surprise to the newsreader that when he saw it come through on the ticket tape, he discarded the actual score and said USA 1, England 10, which he thought it was a misprint. England have got to be careful of that, haven't they? They've got to be careful of this banana skin, Alex Harley, as the players come out. Maybe we'll answer that and go into more detail on that shortly, because the players are lining up now. They've brought their mascots out with them. We're about to get the national anthems. This unique occasion, England against the United States. The crowd started to build up, by no means full yet.
Please stand.
Here we go.
You are able to for the anthems of England, followed by the USA.
It's most decorated. It's a fixture which has been globally recognised as one of the defining rivalries of recent years. Rivalry often personal between managers and players, and down to the fact that both have so excelled. Every day, the kids are gladiatorial combat and decorated with wonderful attacking football, punching physicality. Faces of calm and gone, and rivalry has entered into a new era. But there is one thing that never changes, and that is the fact that neither of these sides can bear the idea of losing to the other. And that on its own, a factor sufficient to make this utterly unmissable. Few venues rise to an occasion quite like this one. It is, of course, the world-famous Old Trafford. Jim, this one always matters. Well, we never really did friendly derbies when I was playing T20. Well, it's impossible to keep rivals.
You may have been saying there's just a little bit of rain fell during that anthem, but it seems to have passed. We've got very high clouds, but we have got forecasts that say 50% chance of rain. Here, just going to kind of squally showers will come through. We had some spectacular ones last night while we were watching Australia lose to Afghanistan. I tell you, this whole competition is wide open. In this group, theoretically, all four teams can still qualify. We can effectively discard the USA unless they absolutely thrash England, but they would have to give them a complete marginalising, which is unlikely. But yesterday, with Australia losing, they're on the brink now. If they were to lose to India in their last game, and Afghanistan with the big Bangladesh, that could set up a fascinating clash between Afghanistan and potentially the West Indies, because to explain the permutations in this group, the West Indies, by beating the USA so emphatically, they have got a great net run rate. If they beat South Africa, they will go through. It's then a matter of whether South Africa or England. Alex Harley, can you honestly believe that South Africa could, by the end of today, have played 7, won 6, lost 1, out of the tournament?
It's crazy, isn't it? This is what World Cups are about. I love the fact that anyone can qualify at any stage. We know it always comes down to net run rate. And one of my biggest bugbears is that teams don't necessarily think of it earlier on in the competition. But yes, South Africa, it would be such a shame to see them go further, because for me they are one of the strongest teams in this World Cup. They have every base covered, but that's just the way it is, isn't it? There's also a big part of me that wants the West Indies to go through, because it's a home World Cup. To see them in the semis and the final would just be amazing.
Well, it won't be a shame for anybody else spoken to in Barbados. They're all amazingly supporting the West Indies and England. That's who they won through, I guess, because they'd love to see a final here with those two teams playing each other. I've got to tell you that the crowd is pretty sparse at the moment. It's a morning game, that's part of it, of course, and the West Indies aren't playing. It's a far cry from the atmosphere we had the other night, when the West Indies, well, they marginalised the United States. Peter Della Pena is alongside me. I'm going to bring Fuzzy Mohammed in, but before I do, I'm just going to ask Peter, was that the bad performance in the USA? Is that all going to go now, and we're going to see the real USA, the USA that has enchanted us throughout this competition?
They got the stinker out of their system, Daniel, on Friday, and hearing the Rocky music play again. The only thing that's missing from this USA squad is somebody from Philadelphia to fit in with the Rocky. But they've got all the other bases covered. They've got guys from New York, from Florida, from Texas, from California, coast to coast, and we've got two guys out in the middle, Andres Krause, who's been USA's leading scorer throughout the tournament, and Stephen Taylor, who's from Florida. USA's leading scorer in their history, both in one-day cricket and T20 cricket. Born to Jamaican parents, but born and raised in Florida. House, somebody who grew up in South Africa, played for South Africa under-19 against an England side that was actually captained by Ollie Stone and featured Ben Duckett, among others. So he's got a little bit of it there. But he moved to the U.S. in 2020, initially to Seattle, now based in Dallas, Texas, and he's been mighty impressive in this tournament.
It's a mighty huge country, is the United States, as we're just about ready to see the action, as Dan mentioned. A bit of a cloud cover, light drizzle, but that is burned off very quickly. There is some cloud towards the southeast where generally the weather will come from, but if it's bright, if it's breezy, it should blow over pretty quickly, so we shouldn't have too many issues with the weather, and it's going to be really stopping to get us going from the Joel Garner end, the northern end of the ground here at Kensington Oval. So is Bridgetown going to be the Belo Horizonte of cricket, and as Dan alluded to, that famous or infamous encounter, depending on how you look at it, in football, the first ever meeting between the USA and England in 1950 World Cup.
Well, who can also forget Rob Green, the famous Rob Green captain in the 2010 World Cup when USA put England in the group stages of the FIFA World Cup in South Africa.
So much history in other sports, but now it's cricket for the first time ever. Bright morning sunshine as we're about to get underway. Stephen Taylor waits on the first delivery from Topley, driving through the offside, down towards third man, in the air for a while, well to the right, and sold at that gully position. So England off the mark immediately, and Stephen Taylor, another one of those with those Caribbean connections, but someone who really owes the USA a lot of runs, because he's been here, he's been involved with the USA for quite some time, but really hasn't delivered in this World Cup.
No, it's been very disappointing to see him as somebody who's been in the squad for 15 years, made his debut as a 16-year-old in Florida, in his hometown, and
most accurate pass.
Striking at less than a run a ball. He's one of the biggest six hitters in the associate world. And he's been way short of one opportunity to break the ship today.
His first delivery takes a leading edge, will fall safe, high over cover. Was looking to go through the onside, but again, that sort of tacky type of surface, as we've seen so often for these early morning starts here in the Caribbean. Just seeing how we're turning the face of the bat early, high in the air over a cover for a couple of runs. So he gets going off the mark inadvertently with a couple of runs, 3 for 1, as we're just underway here at Kensington Oval for this critical encounter. And of course, later today, in fact tonight, it's the West Indies against South Africa. Topley bowls against the house and beats him, going past the outside edge. A shout from the bowler, but no real support from anyone else. It's a good delivery nevertheless, just finding that perfect line, the length, just seaming away past the right-hander into just what was meant.
It's not often that House is in trouble in this tournament for USA. That big against South Africa, scoring 80 off the ball, 20 overs, and played key roles in Canada and Pakistan matches as well.
Gabriel gets over and intercepts.
Holds again, left arm over the wicket, down the leg side, helped away. That's gone into the cushion. That's probably 6 full onto the cushion. We'll get a confirmation from the umpire, but we had a perfect look at it just below us to our left. The boundaries, of course, brought in here at Kensington Oval for all these T20 matches, and he got it on leg stump and just helped it away. Either way, it's a boundary 4 or 6, and that's going to be very encouraging for him and the USA.
Seeing the replay now, yeah, hit it flush on the full 6 inches here, and there's a lot of stars and stripes flags waving in the crowd today for here, more than the England St. George's Cross. I'm a bit surprised here, but talking to some of the taxi drivers, they're not surprised because they feel like they haven't seen as much of a Barmy Army presence as they're used to on the island, because they feel a lot of the attention is on the Euros right now.
As Topley bowls on leg stump and a bit of inside edge onto pad, just looking to play it away, comes off that pad towards the gully region, 9 without loss.
That is a good ball to find it.
8, yes, of course, there is preoccupation with the Euros.
Trying to hit the counter.
Final stage
He is through
of
here.
first round games getting underway today. 2 games on tonight. At the moment, the focus is very much on the cricket here at Kensington Oval. One delivery left in the over number 1. England winning the toss and choosing to seal this. Top right, bowls again to House, and he's helping that one in the air, should be caught. Comfortable catch taken at the backward square. The trap was set, he fell for it, and it's an early success for England. Delivery on leg stump, maybe not of any particular merit, that ball, but it was played away in the air, and with the wind helping comfortably into the hands of Phil Soles, the Bajan boy himself, at the backward square. House goes for 8, and at the end of over number 1, the USA have suffered an immediate setback at 9 for 1.
Well, it was the sucker ball. Kazir, you said it, leg stump half volley, pitched outside leg. He already hit 1-6 in that direction early in the over. This time he got it a bit square than you probably wanted, and went straight to Phil Soles. Initially it looked like he might have misjudged it. He was running in quite fast, battling the wind, and eventually settled himself about 10 yards inside the rope and took it comfortably at waist.
Nitish Kumar is the new batsman for the USA. Of course, the USA unchanged from that shellacking that they endured at the hands of the West Indies on Friday night, when it was really a celebratory atmosphere, a full house here at Kensington Oval for the West Indies. Dominant victory by 9 wickets that boosted their net run rate and certainly helps their chances of moving into the semi-finals. One to be played on Wednesday at the Brian Lara Stadium in Trinidad, and then on Thursday at Providence in Guyana, before everyone returns to Kensington Oval for the showpiece occasion in 7 days' time, the final of the World T20. It's going to be on the non-strikers end, because that was the last ball of the first over. And here's another major ball, Jofra Archer running away from us. The ball to Stephen Taylor, full length delivery into the block hole, loud appeal for LBW, but just tailing down the leg side. So Joel Wilson was presiding from Trinidad and Tobago, so strong Caribbean presence for this encounter. 9 for 1 at the start of the
Nitish Kumar, Stephen Taylor,
your usual
close friends. Nitish Kumar grew up in Canada, played for Canada, captain Canada, and only made his USA debut in April against Canada, ironically, after moving to Houston 3 years ago. But these two played junior cricket an awful lot together, and they're very comfortable together.
Archer bowls full length delivery that's played back along the pitch, just knocked down by the bowler, feeling on the bounce. He's got a slip, backward point, cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, short fine leg. The fielders outside the 30-yard circle are a third man and deep backward square. England with the one change, Mark Wood out from the team that lost to South Africa, place taken by Chris Jordan. And it's Archer once again. Very straight approach, passes the umpire, bowls outside the off stump, past the outside edge into the gloves of Joss Butler. And so good to see Jofra Archer firing pretty close to all cylinders once again, because as much as West Indian fans will be disappointed that he's not performing for the land of his birth or the region that he comes from, certainly it's been an outstanding impact that he's had on England cricket from the 2019 World Cup and that dramatic final against New Zealand, the 50 over World Cup. He's had so many injuries in that time. Archer bowls again to Taylor, and he's playing a bit late to a delivery. Could be trouble here. A direct hit and you would have been run out by some distance, because he had given it up, played it away, instinctively took off, but was really in a position where there was never going to be a run. Now sent back, and the throw from Livingston at short third, well, at backward point, missed the stump, but he was really giving it up. He was gone for all money, but before missing the stump, and he survived.
Well, that shot shows how uncomfortable he is. 2 days ago, he played that same shot in the air to backward point, was caught.
Archer bowls, and he's into the big drive past the outside edge. Not at all settled is Stephen Taylor. No foot movement, no real confidence in his appearance at the crease at this stage.
And because he was caught at backward point a couple days ago, instead of trying to throw everything at it like he normally would, he's a big power player. He's trying to play touch. Touch cricket is not his game. He's not a singles hitter. He's scratching around because he's been so short of runs. He's just searching for anything. So instead of trying to unleash that cut shot that's brought him a lot of runs over his career, he's trying to tap and run, just desperate to get off the mark, and almost ran himself out.
Final ball of over number 2 from Archer. Bowls again, and he's driving. This time we'll get at least a single out towards cover. As Johnny Bairstow gives chase, they'll get a couple of runs. finding a good over from Jofra Archer, which was almost a maiden, but for that final delivery, over-pitched on off stump. Archer conceding just 2 runs of his opening over. It's 11 for 1. The USA put into bat by England. Taylor on 3. Nitish Kumar yet to face. And it's a vital encounter for both teams as they conclude their Super 8 involvement.
Very impressive from Archer in that over. He was 143 kilometers per hour for the first 4 balls and then got it up to 147, so he's over 90 miles an hour. For anybody who still has got question marks over his health, he looks fully fit out there if he's getting it past 90 on the radar gun.
So important, of course, to sustain that fitness, because that has been the challenge for him, because he would have these brief periods of outstanding form and generating tremendous pace. Retaining that level of fitness is so important. We stop him for his second over. Bowls and on the front foot. Beautifully played by Nitish Kumar. Won't get a boundary because it's going to be pulled back in just a couple of meters short by Harry Brook. But that was a pleasant start. Just getting easily out onto the front foot, timing it well for a couple of runs. 13 for 1 at the start of over number 3. An encouraging sign in this bright morning here in Bridgetown.
Somebody who's got experience in the Caribbean, playing for the St. Lucia Stars and Teams franchise in CPL.
With Caltex Avenue Motorcycle Oil, the excitement beats
on top of the ball, staying short of the length, he's on the back foot, guiding to the wing before the rush, but tumbling save.
0317
Taylor back into the edge of the park, on two of the wicket short of the opening over under his house. Taken by Phil Salt, a big backward scrum, helping him off his legs. Toppling, 8 after getting 6 to fine leg earlier in the over. The USA just trying to finish off on a high by putting up a much more competitive performance. Toppling, bowls again, just playing it away into the offside. So Nitish Kumar is still leaning onto the front foot. Close to a full house in this thing, but I suspect that more and more fans will be coming in the ground, and maybe for a lot of those England fans, they had a pretty hectic Saturday night, so it's a bit tougher to get here early on a Sunday morning. There goes Toppling. Goes to Kumar, full length, and he's driving through mid off. No! Brilliant save! A nice bounce as well, but it was a full length dive, goalkeeper fashion by Harry Brook to save a possible boundary. They get the single in the end to take the score to 14 for 1 in over number 3.
Well, that would have been a 4 on most days, but Harry Brook, incredible athletic effort at mid-off. He had about 7 yards to cover, full extension dive, and not only knocking it down, but for that mid-off, he had about 7 yards. Tremendous athleticism.
Stephen Taylor to face up to Topley for the first time. There are going to be some adjustments in the field because he wants Chris Jordan coming in off the third man boundary, just a bit in about some 15-20 meters off the boundary at a fly slip position almost. There's a slip, backward point cover, extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, short fine leg inside the circle as Topley bowls to Taylor, big drive in the air and just over mid-off. Pitched up in his arc. He went for the shot, didn't exactly middle it as well as he wanted, but put enough effort into it to get that boundary. Score moves on to 18 for 1 in over number 3.
That'll be a confidence booster for Taylor. He's in the slot on 5th stump line, leaned forward and shoveled it towards Chris Jordan. For a moment it looked like it was going to be within Chris Jordan's catching arc, but it just cleared his leaping effort by about 2 feet, and that's the kind of luck that Stephen Taylor hasn't had for most of the tournament for USA.
Last ball of the over now from Topley, 1 for 16, coming to the end of his second over. So a bit expensive, but of course it's the power play, just 2 fielders allowed outside the circle. Topley bowls short and he's helping this one away. Good stop by Adil Rashid at the short fine leg, who's had an outstanding tournament with his leg spin. End of the over. 3 overs completed. The USA put into bat by England are 18 for 1. Taylor on 7, Nitish Kumar on 3.
Funny fact about Stephen Taylor, he made his first tour with USA to Guyana in 2008 at the WICB Cup at the time in November that year, and he showed up to the airport as a 15-year-old with a SpongeBob SquarePants backpack
and so Orlando Baker gave him the nickname Bob, SpongeBob, which has been shortened to Bob. So all the guys in the USA team call him Bob Taylor. Not after the England wicketkeeper from a long time ago, but it's Bob for SpongeBob SquarePants.
Thanks for that. Didn't know that one at all. That's why we rely on you, Peter, as Jofra Archer in now, bowls on leg stump to Nitish Kumar, turns it away through mid-wicket. We'll get a couple of runs because the mid-on, that's Chris Jordan, have to give chase some 40 meters to his right. And as it gets a bit brighter, it's a lot more pleasant, a lot of concern about the weather here today, but there's been some high clouds, some early morning rain, some heavy overnight rain, but at the moment we're set fine. A 20 for 1 in over number 4. Taylor on 7. Nitish Kumar, who started well, looks to be well organized, the right-hander. He's on 5 from 5 deliveries. 20 for 1 in over number 4, and Archer wants another change to the field, so we're seeing the cover being pulled out, and it's actually going to the onside.
It's not just the weather overhead. We had a seismic result last night with the Australia loss, literally seismic, Vizier.
As Archer bowled, and he's giving him the charge, backing away as well, looking to crash over mid-off. Didn't time it, bouncing out towards mid-off, and there is no run.
Did you feel the earth shake underneath you last night in Barbados? They felt it in St. Vincent and in Trinidad, I know that much. 6.2 Richter scale measurement on an earthquake that happened literally moments after Mohammad Nabi took the final catch to seal the victory for Afghanistan.
Absolutely, yeah, there was a lot of reaction, a lot of panic in Trinidad and Tobago and St. Vincent as well with that tremor. As Archer bowls and he's playing it away, opening the face of the bat, looking for runs backward of point, but straight to the fielder, so the score remains at 20 for 1 halfway through over number 4. But yeah, the seismic events in St. Vincent with that result will certainly reverberate for some time to see what's going to happen tomorrow with the last day of Super 8 action. England watching here and focusing on their action, but of course it's Australia taking on India tomorrow morning, and then Afghanistan playing Bangladesh. As Archer bowls and Kumar driving straight, but straight out towards mid-on, didn't time it at all well, so it's another dot ball in over number 4. 20 for 1 at this stage. But yeah, that result, fantastic result for Afghanistan, but it has to be said that the Australians were well below the standard that you'd expect from them in the field. Very ordinary.
And then in the chase as well, 106 for 5, needing to get it to a target of 149. They looked like they were going to get there comfortably, and then suddenly everything unraveled.
Archer bowls short into the pull top edge. That could go away for 6. It does. And that's really the liability, if you could call it that, of someone with the pace of a Jofra Archer. He was into the pull shot. He was very late on it, but enough of a top edge to take it well over the keeper, all the way to the boundary at front of the 3W stand. A 6 that takes the score on now to 26 for 1. Nitish Kumar on 11, and 1 delivery left to complete the over.
Well, he bowled a slower ball early in the over to try and keep Nitish Kumar off balance. That delivery, 146 kilometers per hour, so again, going over 90 miles per hour on the radar gun, plenty of pace on it, and that's what helped it go over the rope off the top edge, clearing the keeper.
Slip has been pulled out, sent towards short mid-wicket. Archer, last ball of the over, backing away, looking to crash through the offside again is Nitish Kumar. Hands to the head for Jofra Archer, because that delivery was full but wide to end his second over. He has none for 10 from 2, and the USA at 26 for 1 with Stephen Taylor on 7, Nitish Kumar on 11. And inevitably the cameras focus on the greatest of them all when it comes to all-round cricketers, Sagarfield Sobers. Not in the Sagarfield Sobers pavilion, but at the top deck of the 3W stand. Always good to see the great man coming here at Kensington Oval, where he would have performed so many great deeds as he did throughout the cricketing world. And really a revered name in the game, not just here in the Caribbean, but throughout the world, throughout the cricketing world and beyond. As it's going to be Reece Topley. Round the wicket for over number 5. Over the wicket, sorry, and it's helped away into the onside, but a couple of bounces out towards Phil Salt at deep mid-wicket. The score moves on to 27 for 1 at the start of over number 5. Taylor on to 8. Nitish Kumar back in strike on 11.
For a brief moment there, I thought we were going to have deja vu, Fazir. It was in the air, heading toward the boundary rider, deep mid-wicket, almost identical to how Andries Strauss got out in the first over to Reece Topley, but that one just fell short.
Topley just held up again. He was into his delivery stride and recognized that Kumar wasn't ready. That happened towards the end of his previous over, and that can be frustrating for any bowler. 1 for 17 in his third over. Reece Topley, the wicket of Andries House, as he bowls now to Kumar, helping this one away through the onside, over mid-on. One bounce, well timed by Kumar, who looks to be in the mood this morning to take on the England attack. He gets another boundary that takes him up to 15, a 4 and a 6. It's 31 for 1 in over number 5.
This one wasn't quite full enough to be on a drivable length, but the pitch is true. Nitish Kumar just hitting it on the up, driving through the line, clearing Jordan at mid-on, and it's really been fascinating to see the transformation of Nitish Kumar as a player. When he first debuted for Canada, he was a very wiry guy, not a lot of muscle. His game was more tailored towards longer form cricket. He tried to make it in county cricket going to Loughborough University, but he couldn't get a visa to stay in the UK, and he's had to adapt his game to T20 cricket by default.
Topley bowls and he's backing away as Kumar driving again, this time with even greater power for 6 over long on this time. He's targeting Reece Topley and those full-length deliveries into leg stump, and he's timing it so very well at this time. 37 for 1 in the 5th over. He's moved on to 21 and looking pretty ominous at this stage.
Same ball. Again, not really on a drivable length. It was on a good to fullish length, but really not a half volley by any stretch. And again, Nitish Kumar, this is extraordinary to see how he's progressed in his career, because he's really spent a lot of time in the weight room to try and bulk up to make these power shots.
Topley bowls to Kumar this time, a bit shorter, forcing him to play square on the offside, not close enough for him to look to go over the top once again, as he did successfully over the previous couple of deliveries. 4 over mid-on, then a 6 over a straightish long on. And it's 37 for 1, 2 deliveries left in over number 5. The wicket to fall, Andries House caught by Salt at the backward square leg boundary of the bowling of Topley in the first over for 8. The USA unchanged from their heavy loss to the West Indies on Friday night, as Topley bowls short of a length, tucked away off the hip. They'll get one, will look for the second, should be able to come back for it very easily, because the fielders are set right out on the boundary, and Chris Jordan sprinting in off the Hall and Griffith stand at deep mid wicket couldn't stop the second run. So this is a much brighter start by the USA. They're setting a target this time, rather than the situation that we saw on Friday night, when it certainly seemed that they were almost overawed by the occasion of taking on the West Indies. So many local and regional connections. 39 for 1 in over number 5. Topley, last ball of the over, bowled short of a length and is played back along the pitch to the bowler. The end of an expensive over for Reece Topley, some 13 runs coming off it, and the USA with an encouraging start here, even if it might be in vain for them as far as getting to the next phase of the tournament. They are 39 for 1, Taylor on 8, Nitish Kumar on 23. More from Peter, and then it's going to be done.
You can hear the USA chants break out in the Greenwich and Haynes stand after that over for USA that brought 13 runs. And the power play has never been an issue for USA in this tournament. They were 48 for 1 after 6 overs against West Indies. They were off to a hot start. The issue is what happens when spin comes on. So Adil Rashid, who's had a phenomenal tournament, that's going to be the big challenge for USA today. They look very comfortable against pace, high quality pace brought by England, but USA hasn't been overawed by that at any stage of the tournament. They took on Muhammad Amir, they took on Haris Rauf of Pakistan with great success. They're doing it again here. This is not a shock for USA. The challenge for them is, can they convert this start when they were unable to do so on Friday night against West Indies as soon as spin took over?
It won't quite be spin yet. There's one more over in the power play. Sam Curran is going to bowl it, left armour, broad into the side. After a couple of games when they decided that the Will Jacks experiment hadn't quite worked, so they wanted to an extra seam bowler. The players come out on maybe we'll answer that. Stephen Taylor left arm over the wicket. Taylor drive. The players are lining up now. They've brought their mascots out with them. We're about to get the national anthem. Yeah, I would expect England Rashid will come into the attack. Probably starting the next over. No being Joel ball yet. Here we go.
You are able to hear the anthems of England, followed by the USA.
It's an oval. It's a great ground here at Bridgetown, and we're as close to the middle as you can get, so basically the dimensions are pretty much the same all round. It's a slightly longer boundary way to our left, but it's marginal. This is edged away just past a diving shot, third down to the boundary for 4. It was wide, flashed at by Taylor, and Reece Topley, tall though he is, was not able to reach out and inspect the gadget arm and stop that ball. It's flown down for 4, 43 for 1. It's a fine start for Australia to the USA. It's so rare for any of us to take this experience play in the United States. It's never happened.
Rise to an occasion quite like this one is, of course, the world-famous
Swooping approach.
This one always matters.
Short, cut away, and brilliantly caught. Superbly caught at backward points. Moeen Ali with the catch. And Taylor's got to go. It was short and wide. He flashed at it. And Moeen Ali diving away to his left, two-handed, airborne. Takes the catch around about knee height. And England get a much-needed second wicket. Taylor goes for 12. USA 43 for 2.
Back in the hand, slower ball on the wide guideline. Taylor tried to keep his hands back to get that in front of point, but again, a carbon copy of the dismissal against West Indies, caught a backward point. That's happened so many times in his career. You might as well stack 3 or 4 backward points in the fielders there, because at some point Taylor's going to pick him out, and did it again here. And it's really an unfortunate end to the tournament for Taylor, a sorry tournament overall. He's finished.
It's not a great ball, Peter, is it? I mean, it is there to be walloped.
No.
It's a left arm, it's a left-hander, short, outside the off stump. It's what you dream of It was
a lollipop. It was a half-tracker. It was what I like to call a meatball with some marinara sauce.
Yeah.
Toast over the top of it to munch on. And instead, he spat it straight back out to Moeen Ali at backward point.
Who took a great catch. You want to see that catch? It'll be up on the BBC Sport website and app, where we have highlights and all sorts. And our writer Matt Henry, not the New Zealand fast bowler, but the other Matt Henry, is here, and he will be providing his insights. You can read all about those, BBC Sport website and app, for highlights as the match progresses, and of course full highlights after the game. With the USA now 43 for 2. A bright start, but they had a bright start the other day and it all fell apart. But Aaron Jones is at the crease with Nitish Kumar. You probably say these are the 2 most impressive batters in the USA lineup. Curran is in, round the wicket, forward in defence comes Jones, pushes up to mid-off, where Brook does the fielding. Aaron Jones started this tournament with an explosive, extraordinary innings against Canada. 2 4s, 10 6s. The second most number of 6s by any man in the history of World T20, just behind the 11 that Chris Gale got himself. It was a remarkable innings, and the USA will need him to put up a show today, you fancy, as Curran is into him. This is driven off a thick edge, down through deep backward point for 4. Slightly fortunate, but full. Played into the ground, in fairness. And the USA 47 for 2. Jones off the mark with a boundary, and we see a rather sinister looking 18th century Hamiltonian kind of American who's been in these games here in Barbados, replete with wig and blue tunic.
Well, I met him. It's not George Washington.
No.
His name is George Milligan, I believe.
Milligan.
He's from Chicago. He flew out here from Chicago.
Curran in to completely overrun the power play. It's pushed up to mid-on. They come through for a quick single, and they will get there despite the direct hit from Chris Jordan running in from mid-on. So the power play is done. 48 for 2. Thank you, Henry.
To the umpire director, we have a umpire review for a run-out. Best angle of the bowler's in, please.
You've joined us at a point at which we've got a futile umpire review. as we welcome 5 Live listeners. For a run out, the ball was pushed to Chris Jordan at mid-on. He ran in underarm, but I'm almost certain that Aaron Jones is home. The power play has just finished. 48 for 2 after the 6 overs. A wicket in the last over, a crucial one. Out of Stephen Taylor, who was looking
That's
in
grounded,
fine fettle.
ready to make my decision.
That'll be not out, by the way. We're just going to get confirmation of that in a minute. Aaron Jones was home by about 1.5 yards, if not more. So Stephen Taylor out, caught at backward point. A really good diving catch by Moeen Ali, and a wicket that England desperately needed. If you need to understand the permutations here, if England win, then they are nearly through to the semi-finals, but they won't be guaranteed that until obviously the last game is played this evening. To guarantee it today, before that game is played, they need to win in with roughly 10 to 13 balls to spare. We'll be able to confirm that at the end of the USA innings, because it depends on how many the USA get that determines net run rate. Full first ball of Adil Rashid's over, pushed to short cover. Johnny Bairstow does the fielding. There is no run. So look, we'll know a lot more when we get to the halfway point in the game. And of course, if England win and South Africa win, then England are through to the semi-finals anyway, as Rashid is in. It's tossed up, worked up towards long on for a single. Who might they play? I hear you cry. Well, at the moment, they'd be most likely to finish second in this group, which would mean they would most likely be playing India in Guyana, which would be quite the task. I have Peter Della Penna alongside me, American cricket journalist, a doyen of American cricket, as Adil Rashid is in, floated up, driven along the ground up to long off by Nitish Kumar of American cricket, is originally Canadian international, who's gone over to the other side, gone over to the USA, been lured by the likes of Peter.
Well, I was surprised when he made his debut against Canada for USA that none of the Canada guys sledged him by calling him Benedict Arnold.
Oh, no, he's bowled him. Has he? No, I beg your pardon, I'm sorry. That ball came back off under edge onto Jos Buttler and then bounced off Buttler onto the stumps. I thought he'd got the under edge onto the stumps there. But Adil Rashid, he's going to be a bit of a handful, you fancy, for the USA batters. He's been a handful for everyone in the tournament so far. This is flatter and gets into a tangle. Jones, the ball just stuck in his pads. Buttler picks up, throws back to Adil Rashid. No run. Score remains 50 for 2.
Just to go back quick to that super fan, George from Chicago, he's indicative of a lot of new fans in this tournament. He didn't know anything about cricket, really saw USA